Really quick before we start the video here, I just wanted to say thank you for 80 subscribers. That's absolutely insane. We started a little over 6 months ago, somewhere in there, and today we're at 80 subscribers. It's not a lot compared to some of these bigger channels, but 80 subscribers, I mean, put 80 people in a room, come on now. So I'd just like to say thank you for clicking on the video today. If you could please leave a like, subscribe, let's get into it. Alright, so we made it to the weekend. Last weekend I was pulling the transmission in M5R2 out of another lovely OBS. You can go look at that, but you need to go check the homie out if you want to see that. The full video will be up. It won't be this weekend, it'll be next weekend. He's not in the state right now, so we're not able to get it put back together, but we can at least go look at it over there. On this, we're gonna try and pull the motor, the transmission. There's lots to look into and talk about. So I guess let's just get into that. I don't know what we're doing yet, if we're taking the motor out of the car and going the Mustang route, or if we're just taking the motor out of the car for ease of transmission. I don't know if I'm pulling the motor and the trans at the same time, or if I'm gonna try to pull the motor and then just drop the transmission. But there's lots of different things to look into. So this is just kind of the start of that. So let's get to that. Alright, so you might be wondering why I'm pulling the motor if I'm planning on replacing the transmission. That don't make any sense. Why wouldn't you just leave the motor in the car? Well, I'm kind of not really planning on replacing the transmission, but I'm trying to pull it apart so I can get to that consensus, figure things out. Outside of the fact that it's a really cool car, it's really rare, I might sell it as a roller. That way it can still, you know, stay on the street at least. You know, hey, if I sell it to somebody and get the money, I don't care what they do with it. But it'd be cool if they did the traditional 4.6 swap, put in maybe a 5.0, anything. But for this car, I'm already a couple grand into my other car, and it makes sense to maybe stick with that. But we got to get there, so that's what this video is. We're making all these videos so we can figure out what we're doing. So the consensus that we've come to right now is that we're around 1,300 bucks. Thunderbird Super-Coupe shop on eBay. I don't know if they're a trustable source or not, so there's that. I'm gonna be paying somebody 1,300 bucks, hoping it comes not fucked up. That should be everything but the manual pedal for the clutch. So that'd be the transmission, the M5R2, that'd be the transmission harness, and then that'd be the shifter. And then I believe the neutral safety switch was on there, the drive shaft, and then I found the manual brake pedal assembly on there, just not the manual pedal. So that's the only thing that's not on there. The other thing would be the other parts that you buy new, your flywheel, your clutch, your hydraulic slave cylinder, the master cylinder. So yeah, other things like that. And then we have the brakes to do on this. I did the brakes on the Mustang, so they're brand new. I can upgrade them later. There's a lot of money going into this car. There's a lot of money going into this car. And this was supposed to be over a couple months. I don't have 10 grand, 7 grand to just throw into the car. Of course, after selling my Mustang, I would recoup some of that. But as far as right now, I only got a couple grand to play with, so I need to outweigh my options. I mean, looking at new transmissions for the Mustang, the TKO 600 was like 3 grand shipped with the bell housing. And the transmission, I don't even know if it came with the shifter, it might have, but that was off of Jags. And then the other thing is it was a 26 spline, and the Mustangs come 10 spline for the input shaft into the clutch, the motor. And I haven't been able to, I found one 26 spline clutch, but now I'm thinking that that must have been for a GT, because I ain't been able to find one for a 3.8 V6 Mustang. Now I'm looking at tooth counts, stuff like that. So there's a lot to look into between the two motors. So even if I do pull the motor, it's not as simple as just slapping in the Mustang. There's still a lot to look into that. But as far as this motor goes, the motor needs stuff, the suspension needs work, new tires, new brakes. Let's go into a deep overview of the car, and just kind of, I'll explain why I'm wanting to sell it as a roller. Alrighty, so let's not take away from how cool this car is. This car is extremely cool, and I think that if I was making more money, I was gonna say if I was a little bit older, then that would, be different, but that would insinuate that I'm making more money. I don't really have the money to fix this thing. It is a really cool car, but there's a lot wrong with it. There's a lot missing with it, and these parts are just really hard to come by. Not hardly anybody makes them, and that's just not something. I mean, when you ask yourself, do I want this car? You have to look at all of the problems that come with it. Okay, so yes, do I want this car? Absolutely, 110%. But do I want to put new tires, new brakes on it? Okay, that's not a big deal if it was only new tires and brakes. It needs a new transmission. Well, we know the autos don't hold up. The guy that I bought this from, he put 4 different transmissions in it. You can go and find a bunch of the different mainstream current people that drive these Thunderbirds. I forget their channel names, but they've gone through multiple transmissions. One of the guys went through 7 on his white Thunderbird. I think the other guy went through maybe 4 or 6 or something like that. 3 of them, I don't know, something like that. These automatic transmissions just do not hold up, and finding the parts for a manual swap is not easy. The hardest part is the clutch pedal assembly. I mean, the M5R2s you can find in here. You can get a different tail shaft. I don't know the transmissions all that well. They'll have different gearing. You got to get a different top cover, because where the shifter is in these is that top cover for these, just because the shifter is moved back so far in these cars. Do I want the 4-wheel independent suspension? Absolutely, but that now needs to be rebuilt. This was 1990. We're in 24 now. Quick math, that's 34 years old. So the other things to look at is this wheel. I already checked the other one, but you hear that? It needs a wheel bearing. The other one's tight, not moving nowhere, but boom, says the suspension needs to be taken care of. These have a hydraulic auto control ride feature. I guarantee you the shocks and that, I mean, people had problems with these when they were new, so I know that that's going to be a problem area. More money, harder parts that I can't find, and just finding a transmission that will bolt up. I mean, I think I have to buy a Mustang one, hope it works, all the tail shaft and the spline counts are proper, the lengths are proper, and then I just gotta hope that it doesn't blow up. I mean, and it's only rated for 450 horsepower too, so I can't even really find the built one. So that just kind of leads me to where I'm at. There's a lot more accessible parts for the Mustang, and let's not act like a supercharged M90 Mustang is not still cool. So you can still make that car really cool, but I think that what would be best for me right now is to just pull the motor and just, use that as a platform rather than the entire car. That doesn't mean that this car is not cool. It just means that this one, with those problems, other problems under the hood, we're missing a cover here, which is minor, but again, that's the fuse box. You want to have the cover. All these other things like the starter solenoid, these coil packs, the wires, I mean, look, you don't even have the proper wires on here. You get the Ford racing wires, the proper ones, and then these ones. So that's not proper. That's got to get replaced. I mean, all of these things, the tensioners, it sounds like a bucket of bolts when running, and that's just, I mean, when you have 12 tensioners that are bad bearings, that's what you get. So you come over here and you have things like wiring issues from rats or whatever. These things, I was messing with them, it just slides off really easily. So there's a lot of issues that I would have to tackle And I think it's just a better bet for me to take the motor and use that as a platform. Now for the interior, I know I'm missing this panel here, which I believe I could just get from any Thunderbird Super-Coupe. This 89, I don't think that it came with the option. Either that or, yeah, see the dimmers on the knob, like Mustangs, like OBS trucks. That's what I'm familiar with. I'm sure other models have that, but on every other car, I've seen the dual little up and downs. And so that's really weird about this car. But then the other thing, look at the seats. I need to get reupholstered. It absolutely stinks in here. I don't know if you see the windshield, but that is all on the inside. There's so much moisture in here, mold, mildew. Seats have to be taken care of. I believe the carpet, if I wanted to, I could just deeply clean. You can see it's nice carpet in bad condition, so it should be able to be brought back to life. Auto transmission, horrible. Transmission options, horrible. And then I got a couple missing things here that I would have to source, which again, hard to find. I bought this from a lovely guy, and you know, you just have more problems the further you get. Excuse the trash truck while I record this really quick. There's no specific order that I'm gonna go about this. I'm gonna just start disconnecting stuff. The supercharger might end up coming off the motor before the motor gets pulled, just so that I have more view and less overhead things on the motor, just for ease of pulling. Not that it's needed, but for ease. So this is how I'm gonna do it. Let's get into it. All right, so I've disconnected this clamp up here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and unplug the MAF now. There's a little button on the underside. It just center with this. You click it, you wiggle it a little bit, and it should slide off. And then I felt another one right here. You're gonna have to disconnect that, but you can't get to that until you pull it off your throttle body. So let me go ahead and wiggle this off. We'll get it off, we'll pull that hose off. We'll start sticking stuff in the trunk, wherever you're gonna keep your stuff, put it there, okay? Not in the engine bay. Alrighty, so we've got the air filter taken off. It's got a little just quick disconnect, slide on, slide off piece there. So when I ended up disconnecting it from there, it just disconnected from there. Disconnected, just don't do that. Got a few things unplugged. All of them are duct tape labeled. I just wrote down, I don't know what this is for. It's some sensor that controls something, LX231. So that's what I wrote down on the duct tape here and here, LX231. It's on there. I'll know it's also the same. I'll have video, so this helps too. But then yeah, that goes into the AC there. This is a dead plug, and then this plugs in here. These two go there. So I have that, just, I don't know what it's for as well. This goes back in, down in there, connects up to a bunch of stuff. So it's labeled AC. I'll know this is AC. Those plug in together. Boom, we're good. Unplug the coil pack as well as all the spark plug wires. I just have those hanging off. Here's the alternator plug, also labeled. I got the coolant hose taken off. So we're just gonna keep working at it. I'll get a couple more things done. They're the standard Ford clips. These ones were brittle. They were either stuck in the down position or just snapped off. There was no bending. It's just snap or where it was at. So be as careful as you can. Some of these have already been broken. They might have been designed from factory, split down the middle, but I don't think so. Some of them were more brittle than others, specifically these two. But yeah, let's get back into it. Okay, so while I'm taking all these belts off, I figure I start recording. If you haven't seen my other videos, I'd go check them out. But if you're curious as to why my motor sounded the way it did, which is what we're getting into, before I take the belt off, I just wanted to show you it's split before I take it off, not after, before. So let me do this, hold on. All right, so these two belts were 100% spinning separately. So they're gonna make their own noise and have their own problems. Then you come over here, you have that one doing that. Oh, the alternator too. That one's making noise. You come over here, this one's really loud. Not as smooth as it could be. Let's go ahead and get this belt off the jack shaft here. Ah, bearings actually sound nice. Nice. Oh, this one actually feels smooth. Yep. It's not spinning very much, but it feels smooth. And then I'm sure that's helping out with noise, but oh yeah. Yeah, so there you go. That's why it sounds like a can with a bunch of bolts in it. Okay, so I've just removed one of the wiring harnesses that controls your power, your AC. The power steering I have not unplugged yet. The coil pack plugs in down here, your distributor, and then it plugs into another wiring harness that continues to go that way. You have a few dead plugs, a few, I assume, grounds, 3 of these. This one down here is the only one snapped, not snapped. You see that? Not snapped. And then, where are we at? I think we're over here. Nope. Here we are. Snapped, snapped, and the only one that was flexible. And then, of course, yeah, nope, wait a minute. Yeah, there you go. Right there, snapped and snapped. So, on to the next, let's go. Alrighty, I am no stranger to 1990s vehicles. Number 1, number 2, go ahead, throw up the Mazda. And you know what? It's a fucking 2002, so 3 years. The more I dig into this car, the more problems there are. I say that because you got the plastic tab broken there. There's only fucking, the guy's been in here before. There was only 3 of the bolts in. And if you notice, I didn't show disconnecting the lines. I don't think that's how they came factory. So, yeah, the more I get into this car, the more I understand why I don't want to fix the car, man. I don't have 10 grand, 15 grand to redo the motor, to redo the transmission. The rear end is fine, but then the suspension needs to be hit up. And I mean, if you're gonna redo everything else, then you're not gonna redo the rear end. I don't think so. So, I think we're doing this thing a favor. Alrighty, so now I'm just going ahead and taking off this bracket here. Now, like I said, this would be one of those parts that is not necessary to pull the motor, but it's something that would make pulling the motor easier. So I'm gonna get this last nut off. You have 1 nut here, you have 2 of them there, and then there's 1 more right in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide this off now. I'll just slide right out. And boom, you put your bolts back in. You're not back on. You ain't losing nothing. Look at that beautiful Super-Coupe stamp right there. tab down there, and it's slid over a stud here. I think originally it came with a bolt. That's what I assume. It's a threaded stud. But like I said, he's been in here before, so this isn't going to be the same if your Thunderbird has not been messed with. But yeah, I've already disconnected the 2 bolts up here. And actually the stud just came out with the one. And then there's the net. They came off the other stud, so I didn't lose it. I'm going to go ahead and put those back in the intercooler. And then I can go ahead and work on the underside. But yeah, we're getting some good progress in here. Just disconnecting the last nut here on the bottom. Obviously we've got this top piece taken off, and then you got to follow the underside back up to the tubing. You got to get these 2 nuts off as well, and then not drop them. No, but really the hard part is going to see, I don't know if this can come up and out through the top without this bracket coming off. It kind of looks like it, but it also looks like Ford said, fuck you. So, let's see real quick. Come on, Ford, what you got for me? What you got? Ah, yes you did. Yes you did. Fuck you too. Fuck you too. Alright, so let's go ahead and take this bracket off. We're going to disconnect the intercooler too, so it can stop hanging on the bracket. And then we'll go ahead and unbolt the bracket. There was a bolt for the alternator that you cannot pull out if the intercooler is bolted in. So that's what I was trying to do, is make this this bracket way less. Alrighty, so Ford loves their customers so much that you have to take off this alternator power steering bracket to be able to remove this boost tube. But I want to make the bracket way less before I try and remove it. I know that the alternator bolt was hitting the intercooler, but I don't know if some of these bracket bolts won't do the same. So you might have to unbolt the intercooler regardless. If you just want to unbolt the bracket. But I wanted this out of the way so that, does this side not have? I don't know if this side has a spot to pick it up, cherry pick it. We'll have to get further into that. But that's what I was removing this for. That side has one, and I was hoping that this side did too. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. Alright, now the intercooler is ready to come out very carefully. Look at that beautiful thing drop all its oil. Mmm, delicious. Alright, this is what we're looking at. Let's keep going. Alright, so now that it's out of the way, this bolt will come out. Finish taking this one. Oh. Let me get the 14 mil really quick, and then the alternator will come off after I get this unbolted as well. I believe that's an 8 or a 10 mil. Let's do that. Alrighty, so I'm getting about ready to pull the alternator out, and this is just kind of one of those things. You step back and go, no wonder. Man, you guys talk about voodoo vacuum leaks, boost leaks, things like that. This is not voodoo. Look at this, look at this. 1. Alright, we got 2. Okay, we follow it down. Okay, we got 3. Oh, 4. Okay. And then if you guys know what this leads to, I tucked it somewhere. I believe that goes, that's the PCV filter, so it goes into the air filter. So there's at least 1 more, if not 2 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 connections to make one. Not to mention that this, yeah, 100% wooden dry rod, just hanging out over here by all of this hot stuff, riding up here wherever it was riding. And then you look at like all of these wiring things over here. You're gonna have to run your wires better than this, stacked on top of each other, rubbing while the motor is moving around. And also what's really cool is I think this was Ford's attempt at a soft, solid mount, so that it is soft to some extent, but then it can only bump stop so much. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I have this fully unbolted and I can't even pull it off because of all the wires here. So imagine after years and years and years of rubbing around, or if it sits and things get to it, what kind of problems you're gonna have. So back over here to the alternator, I took the coil pack off. I gotta find the other bolt, I dropped it. Now you have one in the front here, you have one down here, and then you have this one in the back, and then there's a hidden one. Why'd you take the coil pack off? Because Ford wanted you to. Extra bracing for supercharger power. You got one back here. And then it should pop out. Okay, so I'm getting ready to unbolt this bracket here. Just wanted to show you guys how I did it. There's one more bolt. Hold on. Right there. But this one, you're like, oh, you gotta take off the pulley because that bolt, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a bolt right there where those threads are. I'll put an arrow on the screen. And so that's a hole in the bracket on there. But you can see 1/2-inch breaker. I got the adapter to my 3/8 6-inch extension, swivel socket, and then a deep 15. And you can see bolt. That's off. This one's loose. Like I said, I gotta get this other one here, and then this bracket should be able to come off. Maybe I'll catch myself. Well, I didn't finish taking these off, but these are also finger tight. So get those off. Boom. So let's get that. Alrighty, I have removed all of the bolts. I've disconnected the line back here and the lower line, as well as the sensor. The bracket is now ready to be removed. Boom. This is what we're looking at. You know what else is ready to be removed? The boost tube. That's progress. Voodoo problems, huh? Voodoo problems, huh? Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Your wires can't do that. Your connectors cannot do that. You cannot call this voodoo. It's not voodoo, that's common sense. Alright, so we're getting ready to pull the supercharger off. You have 3 vacuum lines in the back that you've got to disconnect, and the one on the let-off valve, I believe. But yeah, and then you have 3 bolts holding the supercharger down. And then you've also got to disconnect your boot here. So we're just going to go ahead and try and remove it now. Alright, take 2. Maybe we got a couple sensors or something, but I don't think so. There we go. We're plugged in back there. But there's your supercharger. It doesn't sound too bad. That's good. There's your throttle body, TPS, IAC. Alright, let's catch you guys back up to speed. Doesn't look like much has changed. Much hasn't changed. We've taken off this nut, got all of our grounds and the brackets there taken off. We've got the final little boost tube piece taken off. We've unplugged a couple other vacuum things, sensors. I didn't look up any videos or any research before any of this, so I'm just kind of taking it apart as I work through it. I just kind of have all of the sensors and wires. You know, if it's unplugged and it's on the motor, it's on the motor. If it's not, so you can see we're completely disconnected on this side, other than the fuel lines that I believe we'll obviously figure out once we try to yank the motor. Go ahead, I'm gonna unbolt the transmission. Unfortunately, I don't know how else I think you're supposed to drop the tank to remove the drive shaft. And I'm not doing that. So I'm gonna just, not if I don't have to. I'm gonna try and yank the motor and the transmission while leaving the drive shaft bolted up, and then we'll hope for the best. But yeah, I got a couple more things. Let's get that done. Coming under the car, I've disconnected it back here as well as up there on the exhaust manifolds, but it looks like you have to remove the rest of the exhaust if you want to drop this piece, because it slides out of those hangers. And it also looks like he's already hollowed out these cats. Well, it didn't sound like it. He's welded them after they've been cut, and that doesn't quite make a whole bunch of sense. But it was extremely quiet if you've seen my other videos, so I don't know. But yeah, the exhaust is disconnected, and because I don't care about this car, that's why I'm gonna be yanking or trying to yank the transmission without taking the drive shaft out. But yeah, pretty simple. Let's get into it. Good morning, guys. It's raining. We're gonna try to get the motor out. We've got our 22mm in our hand. Google says that's also known as 15/16. So we're gonna go ahead, spin the crank around. There's 4 nuts that are gonna be on your torque converter, holding onto your flex plate. I gotta crawl into there to see what those are. There's not one in the window right now. Also, I don't know if you're gonna have to take the window off or not. It's just an open hole. On the truck, there was a little 4-bolt held on lower section. No, there's only 2. It's only 2, I think. But yeah, this one is just, I'm already looking at it. So maybe there was one stock, maybe there wasn't. I can't see one, I don't know the socket size. I'm guessing 13, 14, 15mm. Let's go ahead and spin the crank, get those. Then we gotta hit the transmission bolts, disconnect the fuel lines, and there maybe is a few sensors or wiring harnesses still plugged in, but after that, the motor's coming out. So let's get into that. All right, so we got lucky. We turned the motor enough, and this is only me doing this, so I'm gonna have to bounce between spinning the crank and finding these. If it's the same as my pickup truck, there's only 4 of them. Let's see here, let me start testing out the sockets, and then I'll get back into that. All right, so the other thing that I forgot was you gotta disconnect the starter here, or at least I'm going to, and I wanted to disconnect the starter. Get your bolt there, your bolt there. Now you just pop it outwards, and it should sneak between your O2 and your training lines. This is hard to do one-handed. I imagine it's hard to do two-handed as well. There's just a lot of shit in here. But then you can see it'll just fall down, and then you can disconnect it, and it'll fall to the floor. Oh, and then we've still got to spin the transmission, but we got that off as well. All right, so there's the second one. It's about ready to come off. There's that first one. And now the breaker bar is at a good spot to where we can move it under the car. There it is. All right, so now take our ratchet and put it on there. I'll turn the motor back until the ratchet head hits the oil pan. Oh, I guess this one won't. And then, yeah, you just start taking it off. Boom, just like that. You got that one off. Right there. So we'll go ahead and spin it. We'll grab the fourth one. I'll bring you back for when I'm taking it off. And then we will start disconnecting. I think I'll probably get off the floor, disconnect the fuel lines, look at any extra sensors up top, look at sensors back down here when I'm laying on the floor again. But we got to hit these transmission bolts up, and we're about ready to pull this bad boy. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, so here we are. Go ahead and grab that one off. There's that one. So that makes 4. Go ahead and see about holding up the camera here. All right, so there we go. That's fully disconnected. I'm gonna get off the floor. We're gonna go do something up there, and then we'll come back on the floor, disconnect the transmission, pull this freaking motor, baby. Let's go. All right, so I used the 5/8 fuel AC line disconnect. As you can see, they're about ready to come out. A little wiggle. Holy shit, that is a high pressure fuel line. I forgot it was a high pressure fuel line. Make sure you don't. I forgot it was. Yeah, don't. So let's see what the bottom one does. Oh, dang it, man, that wasn't as cool. Huh, wonder what that looked like on camera. Okay, everything is fucking coated with fucking gas now. I mean, fucking, it just, let me go clean it up really quick. All right. Oh, shit. Maybe we'll not siphon the gas. Let me stick it up. There we go, that works. All right. Yeah, okay. Okay, you can see, got a little gas. Alright, so I just kind of wanted to show how I'm grabbing this bolt here. I got it in my hands. I'll kind of maybe try and put it back in the transmission. It's the upper bolt there. Okay, we're not gonna try to put it back in the transmission, but you can see there it is. you still have your 2 bolts here and here, but it's your upper transmission bolt. I didn't record loosening them. The 2 on this side are loosened, the other 3 on the other side are not. I've loosened and taken out the 2 on this side, the 1 on this side, and then like I said, the other 3 uppers have not been messed with. Well, I assume there's 3 uppers. I ain't even looked at this side yet. But the bolts on the other side, the top one's taken out, the other 2 are loose. I want to look at this side really quick, maybe crack those loose, and then I'll get a jack under this bell housing here and fully remove the bolts, and then we'll start tugging on stuff, see what's still plugged in. This is exciting. So while I'm under here removing the other top bolt, I wanted to show what I was using. It's a 13 mil deep with the swivel, and I believe this is a 1.5 foot extension. On the driver's side, I was using the 6-inch extension with this, and I had it on the ratchet end just because there is a little bit of slop in between this connection here and the other connection, and so I wanted it to be closer to my hand rather than up at the socket where the swivel is and all that extra play is. So I got it broke free now. Oh, came off. I don't know if I'll be able to do it one hand yet. It might be too tight where I got to brace it up here while I'm pushing the lower end, but yeah, I just wanted to show that. Okay, so I'm not very familiar with these cars, which is why I haven't been recording much. As far as bolt size and how to do things and stuff like that, I've just been really showing the locations. But I know that this is probably gonna be a struggle area for other people or make them mad. So I just wanted to show you how I'm doing this. Here's the transmission. This is what we're looking at. I want to get that top bolt out. Right, I think it's right there. But yeah, so basically in a lot of this, you're gonna be feeling, you're not gonna be looking. So we're gonna scoot up now. You can see there's our hand going, and I couldn't drop the exhaust. If you know more about these cars and the exhaust is out of your way, it'll be way easier. But you just kind of reach up in there. You see there's my hand and my thumb, and you just kind of feel around. Maybe you gotta scoot back down. Here I am, I'm moving. Oh, well, also I'm a small guy, so some of you bigger guys are just gonna laugh like, yeah, none of it's possible regardless. But if you reach around, alright, I'm gonna start jacking up on the motor. I'm gonna see what happens. The transmission's unbolted, the flex plate's unbolted. Everything should be unplugged, unclipped, taken off, whatever is needed. The transmission mount bolt is taken off. That was like a 21 millimeter. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna start picking up on the motor. Let's see what happens. I'm ready to be done with this. Right now we're trying to pick up the motor. It's moving. The ratchet straps is doing what the ratchet straps is doing. And we're just gonna see what's happening. Yep, it's about ready to come out. So let me go and mess with the transmission jack a little bit, because it's gonna wanna like fling out. Also, I couldn't find out how to remove the bumper, so we're really reaching outwards for this to just really want to pull that way. So it's gonna be swinging that way. I'm probably gonna destroy that radiator. It doesn't serve me any purpose though, but yeah, I'm probably gonna destroy that radiator. If I don't, cool, maybe it's all like cool and rare and somebody else might want it. If not, it's whatever. All right, got the jack lifted up 2 clicks. Just gonna keep picking up. The way that this cherry picker's picking, it should just kind of pull it off the transmission for us. There goes our oil cap. Oh my God. Oh my God. How did this not fall? I'm setting this shit down so quick. Oh my God, it's not even hooked. The strap was supposed to be looped around, grabbing the strap. And the hook is just sitting there grabbing nothing. Alrighty, that's what it was supposed to be like the first time. Go ahead, get this tight, and then we'll start picking again. Alrighty. I think we're gonna have to get that hood off now. But that is the motor pulled. I need to finish getting this thing out of the car. I need to get it on the engine stand, get it trash bagged up, get this thing, figure out whatever I'm doing with it, and get this video up for you guys. Let me go ahead and do that for you. Holy cow, this is exciting. Alrighty. So now that the motor's out of the car, let's do the last final overview of this thing. So, in the last little bit of motor pulling, I realized that the headlights were in fact, I didn't want to disconnect it. I was tugging hard at it too. Look, see this, look this. This is holding, this vice grip is holding my lights together. I didn't realize until I tried to pull the front bumper off to take the motor out that this is what I was working with. But yeah, he's just holding things together. I don't know if you can quite see it, but there is something in the jaws. And it's the connector for the headlights back to the engine control module. You come over here, there's his AC lines that were cut. I mean, if you were a Thunderbird enthusiast and you knew what you were looking at, you probably could have picked through this guy's car. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he definitely got me. I showed up with flat tires, and he put air in them, but they only held for, 2 or 3 days, so he could have got you there too. But yeah, there's just so many things. Look at this. The motor mount is not a motor mount. It just fell apart. Oh, sorry. There's a motor mount. Sorry. Oh, there we go. There's the 2-piece. Oh, wait a minute. They're not a 2-piece motor mount? Okay, anyhow. So there's that. And then, yeah, so it needs a new transmission or a transmission rebuild. You look in the motor. I busted the cap, but there was also white foam in there. We're gonna do an engine teardown. That will not be this video, but I can imagine there's minor head gasket in here. Either that or it's just residual moisture that's in the oil. But yeah, this car needs to be completely restored. I don't have 25, 30 grand, 15 grand to throw at it, nor do I have the space. So this is what we're working with. This is what we're working with. Let's get it on the floor. Okay, do not do what I'm doing. This is what a retard looks like. Don't do what I'm doing if you'd like to be safe. When it says 500 pounds, trust it. My motor is about to fall on the floor right now. See this? Husky, 500 pounds. Says it somewhere on the strap. Trust it. We're setting it on the floor. We're gonna use a new strap to get it on the engine stand, and then we're not gonna do this dumb shit again. But use the proper shit, or else you're gonna end up fucking shit up. Alrighty, I'm just, oh, sorry. I had a snack, sorry. Just getting it ready to put on the stand now. Got it bolted up. It's still loose here, so I gotta tighten these up. But, yeah. I'll go ahead, get it on there, get it back on the floor, get a bag over it, get it under the covers, and, yeah, next weekend. Now it's on the floor. Let's go ahead and finish tightening all of these. I got them pretty, as snug as I could, with this ratchet strap also cracking, doing the same thing, stressing me out. So I'm gonna go ahead and crank them down now. But yeah, let's go ahead and do that. All right, if you made it this far in the video, that's awesome. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond. But yeah, lots of exciting stuff. We're gonna be doing something with the motor. It's on an engine stand now. We got a supercharger, so stay tuned. Y'all have a good day. Peace.